Welcome everyone back to the Blue Stable Podcast. It is I, Michael Pivia. Today we're going to be having a special episode regarding Jonathan Taylor and the trade market. And also tonight is obviously going to be the Colts and Eagles preseason game. There was some fiery stuff that happened. I believe it was Monday that led these two teams went at it. Zaire Franklin and Dio Odengbo went at it with Jason Kelsey. Dio Odengbo basically saying 62 is a bitch. So obviously, hey, we might have some fireworks tonight. We'll see. We're going to be talking about that here a little bit later on. But today, I wanted to give you guys an episode talking about Jonathan Taylor's trade market and basically the updates that are going on right there. Now, it has been reported that the Colts have given Jonathan Taylor a deadline. Now, they did just on, Monday, give him permission to seek a trade. Well, now it was reported today by Stephen Holder of ESPN that the Colts have given Jonathan Taylor until Tuesday to find a suitable trade after authorizing their star running back to find a trade partner. Now, obviously, that's the Colts kind of like forcing Taylor, hey, hurry it up. If we're going to get this done, let's go ahead and get this done. Giving him a deadline is really stern on the Colts part, and especially Chris Ballard, because you know that they're going to try and play hardball, whatever the case may be. They're not waiting all day. So it's like, hey, we're going to give you a week. Let's figure it out. And it seems as though, and we talked about it as soon as the news broke, we talked about it, myself and Marcus, if you guys saw it on, whether if it was Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on YouTube, or when we went live, you heard us talk about how the Colts are like, hey, if you think you can go out there and get that contract, then, hey, we're going to ask for a steep price. You think you can get it elsewhere? Go find out. We'll find out together. So that's really where we're at right now. If they've given him a deadline to Tuesday, this thing is going to be going this thing is going to speed up pretty rapidly, and we're going to get something here. Me personally, my personal gut is something probably gets done in the next 48 hours. That's just my gut. It's not an educated guess. It's not anything like that. It just seems as though these things are moving around. They're moving pretty rapidly at this point. But before anything happens to break, I wanted to give you guys a glimpse of, what possibly that market would be out there. I am going to pull up another tweet here that talked about what the Colts could get back in a trade for Jonathan Taylor. Let's go ahead and go through this here. Now, this one was reported by Dove Kleiman. He tweeted it out, but it was per Albert Breer. We know how Albert Breer can be connected with the Colts at times. Now, he asked multiple executives about how much Taylor is worth in a trade with a new contract involved. So we're going to go down a list that he named. Not names, but he calls them exec, GM, whatever the case may be. AFC GM, second round pick. AFC executive, third and a fifth. NFC executive, package in the value of second or third. Second AFC executive, third or a fourth. Second NFC executive, third or second, less than the McCaffrey trade. Third NFC exec, maybe a day 2 pick. Third AFC exec, third round pick. Fourth AFC exec, second round pick. Fourth NFC exec, possibly a day 2 pick. Fifth NFC exec, a fourth that could turn into a third under play time conditions. So if you have followed me the last month or so since this stuff has broke out between the Colts and Jonathan Taylor, I have been adamant that, you're not going to get much for Jonathan Taylor. It seems as though I was wrong on that, and I'll take that, be the first to admit that. It seems that the Colts could get a decent package in return for Jonathan Taylor. We just went over the list there. Of course, if you have to go over it again, please don't hesitate to play this back the last minute and a half. Now we're going to go over some hypothetical trades here. So I've got 4 of them right here for you guys. We're going to go over them. This isn't going to be that much, of a long show. I just wanted to go over and we can talk about this together. What interests you? What's the ballpark of what they could get back? And maybe if you guys have a trade, please, if you're watching on YouTube, jump down in the comments and let us know if you have a trade that you would like to see. I have 4 teams right here involving the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Cardinals, and the Commanders. Okay, so these 4 teams is who I have the Colts trading with. Let's start with number 1. Let's go with the first mock trade here, and that's going to be with the Commanders. Okay, why do I think the Commanders could get in? Now, right now, they're not involved right now. Of course, things could possibly change the next 24 hours. Who knows? But I'm putting them in right now because just to me personally, they could make sense. Why? They have they drafted Brian Robinson last year out of Alabama. Obviously, there was a scary situation that happened, was possibly going to miss time, miraculously came back, ended up taking some time away from their starter, Antonio Gibson. Well, now Antonio Gibson and Jonathan Taylor practically make the same amount of money. Could you, instead of paying up for Antonio Gibson, who is a little bit older, why don't you get back a all-pro style elite runner in Jonathan Taylor, pair him with Brian Robinson, and kind of help out your young quarterback, Sam Howell, who you have no idea who he is yet, although it looks like he's going to be a starter this upcoming season. He's played really well in the preseason. Eric Bieniemy coming to Washington looks like it's going to be a really good thing for the Commanders. Could you add an all-pro talent to that offense? I don't think Eric Bieniemy will have any kind of complaints when it comes to that. I think it makes sense. Get an all-pro running back in there, help out your young quarterback, and really try and establish some credibility inside the NFC East, especially with the Eagles just went to the Super Bowl. They're looking to get back. The Cowboys, the Giants, those 3 teams made the playoffs last year. It's going to be a tough NFC East. Ron Rivera is trying to build a championship team. I think they could get there. So let's go ahead and get to this trade package with the Commanders. The Washington Commanders would get Jonathan Taylor, and the Colts in return would get running back Antonio Gibson, a 2nd-round pick, and a 5th-round pick. Tell me what you think about that in the comments right now. The Commanders get, again, Jonathan Taylor. The Colts would get running back Antonio Gibson, a 2nd-round pick, and a 5th-round pick. So, Michael, why are we getting Antonio Gibson back? He's 25, maybe a little bit older, suffered a couple injuries here or there, nothing too major. But here's why I think you should get Antonio Gibson, or you shouldn't say no to Antonio Gibson in a trade discussion. Because, again, he's 25. He has experience in the league. He is a really good elusive back out of the backfield. He can catch. He can run between the tackles. I think he will be a better option to stand alongside Anthony Richardson than a Zach Moss, a Deion Jackson, an Evan Hall. Antonio Gibson has produced in this league. He has done some miraculous things. He's been a fringe Pro Bowler in this league. Why would you not want that? And again, he's in the last year of his $2 million deal. He's going to be a free agent after this upcoming season. So you're not necessarily risking anything. He's going to come off the books. If you're the Colts and you stand in this situation and you stand in the mindset of, we don't want to pay Jonathan Taylor. We want to see how he can be healthy, if he will be healthy, and how he can fit in this offense. Okay? So that's exactly what you're going to do with Antonio Gibson. He costs the same amount as Jonathan Taylor. You bring him in here. Hey, be a good voice, be a leader for our rookie quarterback. Come in here and guess what? Let's see if you're healthy. Let's see how you fit inside this offense. And if you are good, hey, let's extend him. Let's extend you. You're basically in the same position with Antonio Gibson, who is not going to give you the problems that Jonathan Taylor and his agent are. On top of that, you're going to get a 2nd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. Now, where the Commanders land in the draft, none of us know. Like, we probably don't have an idea. Washington is definitely a team that you could see make the playoffs, or everything just doesn't come together and they go crashing down and they select in the top 10. Now, if you have a 2nd and 5th-round pick, especially that 2nd, it would work out. But that's my mindset when it comes to the Commanders and why the Colts should take an Antonio Gibson in return. Let's go to trade 3 with the Arizona Cardinals. And this one is pretty simple. The Cardinals would get running back Jonathan Taylor, the Colts would get back a second round pick, a fourth round pick, and a fifth round pick. Now, that does seem like a lot, maybe too much for a Jonathan Taylor trade. Here's my thinking. If you're negotiating with the Cardinals, you're going to want to squeak out every asset you can, especially if they're a team that's probably not going to be that good this year. That's predicted by many to pick number one overall this upcoming draft cycle in 2024. That's how bad they are thought of right now. And they also have no shortage of picks. Remember, they traded back with Houston in the 2023 draft. They selected CJ Stroud. They traded up again to grab Will Anderson. Doing that, Arizona got back Houston's first round pick of this year and their third round pick of this year. So they have picks. They are good when it comes to the first, second, and third rounds. They have the capital. I think you can sacrifice a fourth and a fifth round pick if you're Arizona. And if you're Indy, yes, you would want this package, because if you have this package from Arizona, these are going to be some high selections for you in each round. Now, of course, fourth and fifth, they're going to be day threes. But what does Chris Ballard do when it comes to the day three picks? He hits on a majority of them. So if you want Chris Ballard to continue to, in this rebuild, to put talent on this team, put depth on this team, you definitely want more picks, higher picks in the fourth and fifth round. You're also getting that second round value from Arizona, which is probably going to be pick 33, literally in the first round. You're probably going to get a first round talent there. Or if you finish fifth, sixth, and you really love Marvin Harrison Jr., guess what? Now you have more draft capital and ammo to trade up into maybe that top three to get in range for a Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm not entirely sure if you're going to be in the discussion for Fashanu or Joe Alt. I don't think you're going to be there because it looks like you're pretty set at tackle with Bernard Ryman and Braden Smith. So who knows? Or yeah, no. Who knows? We don't want to get too much into a draft conversation. But for this Cardinals trade, one more time, the Arizona Cardinals would get Jonathan Taylor. The Colts would get a second round pick, a fourth round pick, and a fifth round pick. So no players coming back. You're just going to ship out Jonathan Taylor, okay? You're going to get the draft capital back, and then you're just going to rely on your running back room, which is going to be running back by committee. Deion Jackson, Evan Hall, possibly Zach Moss. So that's basically where you're going to be at. Let's go to the second trade that I have here. The second trade that I have is going to be with the Dallas Cowboys. This is going to be the one that it intrigues me more than any other possible trade, to be honest. This one, I've been vocal about it. I don't know if Dallas would do it. I don't think they would. It has been reported that they are interested, but have they really made an offer? No, they haven't. But again, could that change today, tonight? Could that change on Friday? Could that change on Saturday? We do not know. But let's go ahead and get to this trade package. The Cowboys would get Jonathan Taylor and a sixth round pick. The Colts would get running back Tony Pollard, second round pick, and a fourth round pick. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody's question is, why are we sending a pick to Dallas? Here's why. Because if you want to be game with Dallas, and you obviously want to get back Tony Pollard, a very, very good player, a guy who I've been vocal, if it wasn't for Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard would definitely have a contract extension and not be playing on the franchise tag. Tony Pollard has running back one written all over him, okay? He can catch the ball out of the backfield, he can pass block, and he can run the ball between the tackles. He is the kind of guy you want around Anthony Richardson. That's the kind of player that you would want. For Dallas to request a sixth round from Indy, well, it's quite simple because they do not own their fifth or sixth round picks because they made trades. Remember, they traded for Brandon Cooks. They made a couple of other trades. So now this upcoming season, they do not own their fifth or 6th round pick. Now, of course, if you're going to hand out a 2nd and 4th, you don't want to be too strapped of what you're going to have in the draft. You don't want to be too much. You probably want to get a little bit more draft capital back. So they are going to want a 6th round pick. And a 6th round pick, a lousy 6th round pick, is nothing to give up, especially if you're getting back Tony Pollard, a 2nd round pick, and a 4th round pick. That is definitely, I don't even care about the 6th round at that point. Let's just give me this package. And again, I don't know how likely it is. I don't know how likely it is. But again, if you're a Colts fan, which all of you watching this, listening to this probably are, would you do this trade? Would you do it? Because Tony Pollard is playing on the franchise tag. And again, look, look, the Colts have the money to take Tony Pollard. They have the money. It's not like they're trying to sign anyone on the offensive line. Apparently, they're okay with Anthony Richardson getting popped every play. So you're not making any big-time moves that's going to cost $19 million. You can fit Tony Pollard into your cap easily. And again, are you comfortable going into this season? Are you comfortable? And I wouldn't be mad at you if you are. Are you comfortable with entering the season with Evan Hall, Deion Jackson, and Zach Moss? Is that a good enough running back room for you? If you are a GM, are you going into this season like, okay, I'm good with this room. Yeah, I like it. Me personally, there's not a guy or there's not the guy in the room. There's just guys. Zach Moss, okay, he's been hurt, but it looks like he'll make the roster. What is he going to offer you? Evan Hall hasn't really shown much in the preseason, but then again, he's been playing behind the second team offensive line, so there's probably not much to go off of. Deion Jackson probably has the most credibility in the room. Why wouldn't you want Tony Pollard in this room? Why wouldn't you want him? Why? It kind of goes back to, again, Tony Pollard and Antonio Gibson, the two Memphis Tigers. Those guys. Why wouldn't you want Tony Pollard next to Anthony Richardson? Now answer me this. If you're Chris Ballard, is giving up your 6th round pick too much? Now, 6th round pick is a 6th round pick. We watched him trade a 7th for a special teamer. So could you part ways with a 6th round pick? Could you part ways with that? That's my reasoning behind this trade right here. Let me give it to you one more time. The Cowboys get Jonathan Taylor, a 6th round pick, and the Colts get Tony Pollard, 2nd round pick, and a 4th round pick. That's the deal there. So let's go to our last one here. Go to our last one, and this is probably with the team that's most likely to trade for Jonathan Taylor, and I wanted to save this for last for you guys. The Dolphins, obviously, they're in win-now mode. Last year, they traded for Bradley Chubb. They gave up some solid picks to Denver for him. They have Jalen Phillips, who they drafted a couple years ago. Obviously, they traded for Tyreek Hill. So you're not going to make these trades for these players and say, oh, we're not really trying to better our team that much. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. If you want an elite running back in your backfield and you want to try, because again, remember what division they're in. The Jets seem to be not a slouch anymore. All right. They got Aaron Rodgers and they've made a ton of moves. Aaron Rodgers is in New York now. You still got Buffalo. New England. You definitely need as much talent as you can get to compete in that division. To compete in that division, you definitely want to have as much talent as you can. And they seem the most willing to give him the contract that he wants. Now, again, his agent seems to be a Dolphins fan. Is there some collusion? Is there tampering going on here? Who knows? I mean, the Dolphins are a team that are being penalized right now for tampering. When it came to Sean Payton and Tom Brady, remember, their 1st round pick in 2023 was revoked. So this past year, we saw 31 draft picks on Thursday night, on night 1, not 32, 31. This year, they do not have their 3rd round pick. This year, Miami does not, because that was revoked from them for the tampering. So could there be tampering right now? Possibly. As a Colts fan, do I care? Hell no. No, I don't. Because what does that have to do with us? Especially if we can get a package back and we don't have to extort $16 million on Jonathan Taylor. I'm okay with it. The NFL may not. So let's go ahead and get to this package right here. The Dolphins will get Jonathan Taylor, and the Colts will get a second-round pick that can improve to a first-round pick if Taylor plays a certain number of games, and a fifth-round pick. If you're the Colts, you doing that? Especially if you think Taylor is going to be healthy. If you get a conditional second that can turn into a first, oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. You do that. So let me give it again. The Dolphins will get Jonathan Taylor. The Colts will get a conditional second that turns into a first based on a certain number of games Jonathan Taylor plays in, and a fifth-round pick. Now, why couldn't we go higher? Well, the Dolphins do not own their third and fourth round pick of this year. The third round pick was revoked by the NFL, as I mentioned earlier, and the fourth round pick was sent to Denver in the Bradley Chubb trade. So that's why the Colts are not getting a third or fourth in this deal, which, again, I think Chris Ballard could possibly get the conditions on the second round pick because he's not getting that additional second day two pick or fourth round pick, because it makes sense. It makes sense. If I'm not going to get a third or fourth round pick out of this, why don't we give the second, but make it a condition? Put a condition on it. If he plays a number of games, if he plays the whole season, or if he plays 14 games, whatever condition you put on there, and he meets that requirement, then it gets bumped up to a first round pick. I think that's the best. This is the best case scenario for Indianapolis, especially if Miami is a team that's willing to give up that draft capital and give Jonathan Taylor $16 million a year. Then if you're the Colts, how can you argue that? How can you argue that? Really, how can you argue against that? It seems that, again, they're trying to get Jonathan Taylor like, hey, you want this, so go out there and get a suitor that meets our requirements. I know there's a lot of things going on like, oh, well, why would, and I've mentioned it on the show before, oh, why would the Colts not want to pay him but request a high package for him? And a lot of people out there have said, oh, that's the point. They don't want to trade him. Again, you just can't have it both ways. Unfortunately, in 2023, you can't have it both ways. You can't, oh, we don't want to trade you, but we also don't want to pay you right now. You just can't have it both ways. I'm sorry. This is reality. This is the reality of the situation that we're in. You just can't have it both ways. So someone is going to come out here either unhappy or happy. The Colts are either happy that they get the package that they want, and Jonathan Taylor is happy that he is somewhere he wants to be and is getting paid the way he wants, or we're going to get into a messy situation. And I think at this point, we all should be wanting them to find a trade partner, because, again, we do not want to get into the season and discuss Jonathan Taylor possibly missing games. How much is he going to get fined, being a distraction, or possibly playing, but not really being here emotionally, not being here mentally. So again, which of these was your favorite? And if you have a different one that we're not talking about right now, please jump in the comments and let us know. Let us know here at the Blue Stable. Let all the Colts fans know what you're thinking. If you have a problem with one of these, let me know. It's not the first time I've been stupid. It's not the first time I've spoke like a dumb one. It's not the first time. Let me know. Come on, let me know. I mean, we got time, right? And the Colts and the Eagles are going to be going one-on-one today. So now it's time to get done. Time to get it done. This was a fun episode for you guys. I definitely hope it was. It was for me. I like going through these hypothetical trades there. Again, which one of these was my favorite? I'm going to have to go with the one with the Cowboys. You know, getting back Tony Pollard, a second and a fourth round pick, that's like, man, dude, I really love that. The Commanders one is a sneaky one, in my opinion. The Commanders have not inquired about Jonathan Taylor. It has been reported that the Los Angeles Rams have called the Indianapolis Colts, but per Rashad McGinnis, that was just them doing their due diligence. It's not really anything serious. If you're the Colts, like, if you're not going to be serious, why bother calling us, right? Yeah, like we want to get this show on the road. We want to get some progress made on this. Is Jonathan Taylor staying, or is he going to go somewhere else and we're getting a nice package back? So let me know what you guys thought about this hypothetical mock trades, all that good stuff. Let me know what your thoughts are about this upcoming season. Let us know down in the comments below. And if you are not already, guys, make sure you are following us on Twitter, Instagram, or X. I'm sorry, on X. Make sure you guys are following us on all those platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. And if you are not already, subscribe and like us on YouTube as well. Comment down below. The best way you can help us grow is commenting down below, liking and subscribing the channel, especially this video, guys. Thank you. We'll be back to discuss the preseason game between the Colts and the Eagles, the dress rehearsal game, Anthony Richardson and the guys. I wonder how much playing time they're going to get. I don't know. I don't think any of us really know, but we're all going to be tuning in on Amazon Prime. So that's going to be on Amazon Prime. We're all excited to see how this team can perform, and then eventually get to cut down day, hopefully find a resolution to this Jonathan Taylor situation. And then it's time to prep for week 1 at home opener, Anthony Richardson debut against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So other than that, guys, I am Michael Pivia. Thank you again for watching, listening to this to this episode. We're excited to have you back next show. We'll see you guys later.